Lance, the stop followed by the blocked field goal entering the half, what kind of impact did that have on the game overall, and how did you see it kind of affect the team as they went into the locker room?
The blocked field goal, I think it was huge. Missing. They missed 2 field goal attempts. The block, I think, gave us a spark of, obviously momentum and excitement and energy that we made the play, made the stop, and otherwise, we hadn't really slowed them down a lot and those things, and he gave it with us getting the ball coming out, and that was important as well.
Maybe just kind of piggyback off that. How has special teams been? How was it today? And just how has Leipold Marjon been a big part of kicking this year?
Leigh's been awesome. As you know, he's having an excellent year in field goals for us. He's been very consistent. Unfortunately, he had one out of bounds today, but his kickoffs have been very good all year as well. Very steady for us in everything that we're doing. If you look, I think overall, throughout the Big 12, I think we're definitely in the upper 25%. I think in special teams production, and it's been very important for us so far. I thought we had a solid day again today.
Coach, how important was it today getting both Daniel and LeSean involved in the run game?
It was extremely important, and again, I don't even know which interview I said this to, but it's the most healthy the 2 of them have been since the opening game of the season. And now that you're at this stage, besides between practice reps and where they're going, to have them both healthy going down this final stretch will be very important for us. You can see when they complement each other well. They're very physical runners with good vision, and again, it's hard to bring them down, on first contact. So the spark that both of them gave us was huge today, and for us to have that type of day on the ground was a very important part of the win.
Lance, you talked after the Kansas State game about the mood was in the locker room after that loss. Just how would you describe the mood in the locker room?
Guys were excited. They were excited during the game, and for me, it's kind of like they're sometimes almost too loose for me. I want to make sure. I was kind of worried until the game's completely over, but there's a group that's proud of that, and I'm proud of them for sticking with it. Again, when confidence can get dented at times in this thing and where you're going, and they stuck together. We talked about our leadership as we did during the week, and I thought our leadership group did a great job. I think our guys put the time and effort in that it took. I didn't think, obviously, we don't take anyone for granted in this, and to play a team that only had 1 win. I think we were well focused and found out that, especially in the first half, we were in it was going to be a tough football game, and for us to keep chipping away at it and find a way to pull away was really important.
After a sluggish first half, you guys had four touchdown drives in the second half. What was the difference?
I guess I'd say, what do you mean by sluggish? We only had the ball twice and we scored both times, so I don't know. We had 10 points, but we scored at both possessions, so we just didn't get off the field, and it was a very fast first half. And for a game that we didn't punt, I think it was huge. I think when we were able to get we got off the field defensively, and then we started to capitalize. But again, getting in a little bit of rhythm, mixing it up, I think we established a little better running game at that time, and in the second half that gave us the balance that we needed.
Piggybacking off the running back part, how much of an impact has that had, those guys being banged up and not being healthy at the same time? How much do you feel like that's impacted the ability for you guys to run the ball consistently over the course of the year?
Well, again, when you don't have your top 2 guys on the field all the time, if I say it's going to hurt, then it's like we're making excuses. So I want to be careful there. But again, you can see when they're healthy, when they're playing, where our team is at times and what we can do, especially in tough, getting the hard yards. And you see the thing that I enjoy watching about both of them is that they're not going to always go down on the first hit, and then they keep piles moving. And I think LeSean has really good patience and vision, and then hits things. Daniel, again, is becoming more and more confident and trusting even his speed around the corner at times to make plays happen. And so, again, we're a better football team when they're both healthy and on the field.
LeSean had 10 straight carries, I think it was.
Did he really?
Yeah, on one of those drives. When you're in the headset, and are you hearing, keep running? Like, are you thinking about that at the time?
Well, one time I got to be honest, I was like, in the early part of the game, I got on Z a little bit because I never felt we ran the ball twice in a row, and I tried to sarcastically say there's no rule that says you can't run it twice in a row. So, now you guys are going to print all that. So, but he knows again. And then as we drove down for that one, I think in that drive you're talking to, he was like, I'm going to try not to throw it. Now we're up at that time. We're up 17 at the time, I believe, and we're trying to use the clock and do things. And I thought Jalen did a great job with clock management at that time, snapping the ball under 5 all the time. And we kept trying to work and it's, and you could see Oklahoma State was rotating a lot of guys and stuff, trying to keep bodies fresh and stuff. So when you're having success against a team that's keeping guys a little bit more fresh than what your linemen are, and still having success, I think it's a good day's work.
And Bryson Canty had 2 big catches. What'd you like about his performance?
Bryson, the tough thing with Bryson is, he's very talented, big physical receiver. I feel bad for him because, I say bad, he was, as you guys that are here all the time know, he was slowed down in camp. If Bryson Canty would have been a transfer that showed up in January, he would be, he would, again, not taken away from others, but I think you'd be seeing him making more contributions even than he does now. Between that and the camp injury, just really slowed getting him into the rhythm. But you start seeing him make plays, and really the first catch was a great catch, and then the touchdown itself. But hopefully a guy again that's going to add to that room and another good target as we head down the rest of this month of November.
Coach, you fall behind early. What's the message to the team on those first couple drives?
Well, again, you never want to, and I know we've said we had some slower starts, and sometimes trying to get a feel for rhythm, we got to settle down, but sometimes settle down is we got to be more aggressive at times, and I think it's the second consecutive game that within that first drive that we've given up points, we've had a 15-yard face mask penalty that we're giving away 15 yards at that time. Missed a couple tackles too in there. Again, got to settle down, come out of the gate and execute better in those. But again, the biggest thing is no matter what happens in that first drive, you can't flinch and panic about it and lose confidence. You got to keep playing, and as we saw, I think our defense really settled down and played well.
Lance, I know you mentioned late earlier, but I know you set the school record today for consecutive kicks made without a miss. What do you think of that? And it's kind of something you're surprised about, or?
I'm surprised to see you in the second row. I'm like, I'm confused here, but what do I think? Brian Haney, voice of the Jayhawks, made mention of it on the radio show on Hawk Talk on Wednesday, and I was concerned it was going to jinx him and throw it on there. But for him to have that type of consistency in the year he's given us is really been amazing. Like I said, he's been like a lot of our new additions. They've been really good guys to add to this program, not just as football players, but as people. And he's near the top of the list in that regard, just by what he brings. And even when things don't go, like he kicks the ball out of bounds, and I asked him if he was okay because he had struggled. He was a couple weeks back. You remember we talked about that, and I asked him if he's okay. He goes, "No, coach, just a bad kick by me. I got it this time." And never makes an excuse. Doesn't deflect to something else that happens. He just goes about it and works hard every day.
Lance, you alluded to it with the sticking together and how proud you are of these guys. I wonder, how much did your team need this win? I imagine UCF feels like it was a little while ago.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, we needed it. But as I told him, winning 5 games at Kansas hasn't happened a lot, and we can't forget that sometimes. Okay, and when you go through that, and I heard a coach say one time, again, every Saturday half the teams win and half of them lose, and it's hard. And we always talk about this conference and the parity and all the things that happen. And you can see it across the conference again, probably today, with certain outcomes that you never know what's going to happen. And for us to keep working and be prepared and put it all out there, and I'm proud of our players. I'm really proud of our coaches as well, because again, when skepticism and things kind of try to dent, you know, your program and things like that. You got to keep working. And as people ask, you know, I think we said it as well last week. Tomorrow we're in here working just like we did last Sunday. The same way, the same breakdowns, the same schedule, all the way through, and we've got to find a way to get ready for Arizona. But I am proud because, again, between the open weeks and things like that, it does seem to drag, and you're kind of seeing like where it's at for us to find a way to get to a victory.
Lance, what do you think about the targeting call on site?
I can't keep spending money that way. Okay. I don't know what targeting is anymore. I really don't. And you know, I could see possibly where it's at, but I thought his face was up. I thought it was in the shoulder, the chest area. I really didn't see it close enough where it's at, but I don't know. I know it's frustrating to a lot of people right now to where it's kind of reverted back to. So I don't know where it's at, but we'll take a good look and to see if we can appeal it or not, if it's worth appealing, and go from there.
Coach, how big of a game changer was Isaiah Marshall's big play for 43 yards in today's game?
It was a very big spark for us. In fact, I told him right before I came up here, I said, you know, your run was, you know, was a big one that sparked us when we needed something, and you know, we needed that little boost, and it was huge. I thought the option play to Cam Pickett was also another one that got us some good momentum when we needed it as well. That was a nice big run. So, but Isaiah came in there and got us sparked. Now, probably the other part of the targeting call that was frustrating is that I was hoping that we were going to get Cole and Isaiah both in the game and do some things with some of the other guys that work hard, and we could have got some guys some playing time and touches and things, but wasn't meant to be.
Top one, Mark, John.
Lance, you guys, front seven, defensive line, you held them to 72 yards rushing. What did you see from them?
Again, I thought we got to, especially like I said, second half and some other things, we got to be disruptive, and you know, I thought Tommy Dunn showed up. I thought Marcus Calvin showed up to him. Again, Blake's been very consistent. DJ Withers, you know, again, he goes down and he's banged up and he fights his way back in there. I thought Dean Miller ran around and really was flying around the field today as well. But that front seven, like I said, we settled down, we got some things, and again, a whole defensive performance I thought gave us a big chance for this victory.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.